We are OzHarvest.
We're building a sustainable food culture.
A world where food is not wasted, but produced, distributed and consumed sustainably.
When everyone can access a fresh, nutritious and affordable meal.
It's a big job and needs change at all levels of society.
From government, business, manufacturers, farmers, supermarkets, restaurants and households.
It needs all of us.
We got the laws changed in 4 different states to allow food to be given away for free without fear of liability.
We've changed the way people think about food waste.
Each year we deliver around 20 million nourishing meals to those in need,
saving thousands of tons of good quality food from landfill.
Through our education and engagement programs, we've changed behaviour and shifted awareness around food security and sustainability.
We've already achieved significant change, and that's what makes OzHarvest the leader in this space.
Because all over the world, millions of people still go hungry, whilst good food is continually wasted.
In Australia, we produce enough food to feed 60 million people a year.
But every month, more than 600,000 people, a third of them children, need food relief from charities.
Globally, 1/3 of all food produced gets wasted every year.
This adds up to 1.3 billion tonnes and is literally costing us the earth.
The problems facing us are enormous. We must be truly innovative on how we tackle them.
This constant innovation keeps us front of mind and makes us a role model in the for-impact sector.
We have huge goals to meet and we're always striving to go further, do better and be even greater.
OzHarvest is now a global leader in food sustainability. Our model has been replicated in the UK, New Zealand, Thailand and South Africa.
Everyone in the OzHarvest family is on the same mission.
We are so excited about the work we are doing on the ground to tackle food waste.
And we're excited by the many different opportunities that we have to build a sustainable food culture for the future.
There are still many hungry hearts and bellies. Together, we'll continue to do whatever we can to nourish our country.
We
are OzHarvest. Thank you so very, very much. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the Gimbangi people on whose land we meet today and pay my deep respects to the spirit with which they have nourished our country. How many of you this morning woke up with deep gratitude for the breath that you took this morning, for the sun that came up this morning, and for the fact that somebody thought you were worthy, whether it was yourself who thought you were worthy, or your council, or your business thought you were worthy to be here this morning? Can you just take one moment to think about the gratitude for being here? Awesome. I did too. I do that every single morning. Because quite honestly, if any one of you had thought that this is how I envisaged my future, you are wrong. I had no intention of ever being a role model or standing up in front of anybody and talking. In fact, in year 11, when the principal of my school came and said, "We think that you might be school captain material. So what that means is you'll have to give a speech to your school." I said, "Thank you very much. I choose to decline that offer." And yet, if you get me on a stage any day, at any time, talking about either OzHarvest or food waste, I am so comfortable to be doing that. So I'm here to share with you a little bit about why I started OzHarvest, and a little bit about our journey, what we do, and why I believe food waste, as we all know, is something that each and every one of us has a critical role in sharing the message on the importance of minimizing it. My vision is to create a world free of waste and a world free of hunger. Now, I was a waste creator. I was in the hospitality industry, putting on exquisite events, sometimes much like this, around Australia and around the world. And one of the core crux parts of a phenomenal event was wonderful food, because food showcased my clients as generous, abundant, and successful. And having an ethnic background, I did not want a single person at one of my events to leave and have to go to Macca's on the way home because they were hungry. You've all stood somewhere at a cocktail party where the waiter came in there and you were there, and then you thought, okay, I'll just go over there, and then the waiter came in from there, and there wasn't enough food. That did not happen at my events. Tables groaned, and at the end of every one of my events, there was food left over. Initially, start an event at 3 in the morning preparing, you end an event at 3 at night. My caterers would just put that in the garbage bin until it reached a point. Two things collided for me. The one was that I wanted to find my purpose and meaning. I wanted to look in the mirror and know that I had a legacy, that I had done something more significant than just for myself, for my family, and maybe just my little neighborhood. I wanted to do something that was bigger than me, to know why I had been created. And at the second big issue in my life was I was watching this food go to waste and thought, what if I connect this food that I'm seeing with people in need? Perhaps it would be a good idea. And I guess 112 million meals later, it wasn't such a bad idea. And if you consider that we did this in 2004, nobody was talking about food waste. Nobody was talking about perishable food being reused. And when I said yesterday that unintentionally I started and created the circular economy in our world by making sure that good food, instead of going to landfill, went to feed hungry bellies. The first barrier, I guess, apart from all the people who said, oh, I thought of doing that, but I couldn't do it, and you'll never do it. To those people, I just said, mind out of my way. This is where I am going. In 2005, initially, my caterers, some of those businesses that I approached personally, said, of course we will do this. But supermarkets came to me and said, we will never give you food. We will never give you food because we're worried about our legislation. And it seemed to me that that was a problem, because at the time I had no idea that a third of all food being produced was going to waste. But I saw what I knew, and I did think that I'd start OzHarvest and solve this little problem and go back to doing something else. Well, in 2005 we lobbied and had the laws changed, first in New South Wales, then in the ACT, then Queensland, South Australia, and other cities and states followed suit. So that fundamentally changed the face of food rescue in Australia, fundamentally allowed business to give their food for free without fear of liability, which meant that the scale to which we now have scaled has been possible. When I think that when Roger Corbett was the CEO of Woolworths, and he said, over my dead body would Woolworths ever give away any of its surplus food. Things have changed significantly, and one of the things we do know, we're not there yet, but businesses like Woolworths are leading the charge in being committed to halving food waste. We started with one van, and clearly we now have a fleet of 60 vehicles that rescue food on a daily basis from supermarkets, delis, takeaways, boardrooms, food producers, manufacturers, anywhere in the food supply chain. And I guess that is the rescue piece that each and every one of you know about. So we defined our purpose as to nourish our country. And we do that in 4 ways. Rescue is the first pillar. It's what you see, what you know, our beautiful yellow vans. And clearly I am somewhat of a fan of yellow. You know, there's nothing like representing your brand. But, and that is another thing that is somewhat unusual about OzHarvest. As the first for purpose, for impact in this space, I never considered ourselves a charity and still do not consider ourselves a charity. We are in the for impact, for purpose business and world. It's about making a difference. I've never, ever gone out with my little cap in hand and said, please give us money, although we are completely philanthropically funded, or almost, other than our social enterprises, which I will touch on. So our first pillar is rescue. It's what you all know. Our second pillar is educate. What I realized very quickly, seeing the scale of food waste, was that if we don't start shifting behavior, nothing is going to change. So yes, getting businesses on board, sharing food is hugely important, but actually, we have to shift and change the scale and the uptake of the size of the problem. So the first issue in our educate pillar, there are 5 streams. The first was teaching our vulnerable people, the people we deliver food to, how to deal with wagyu beef and bok choy and salmon when they were used to white bread and jam sandwiches. So our Nest program rolled out, teaching them how to live a more sustainable life, how to cook, and how to use good food. Our second program is our Nourish program. And when people say to me today, what is it that still drives you? What is it that gets you up, excited every single day? One of the reasons is our Nourish program. We take kids from the agencies or from the organizations that we deliver food to, and we put them through hospitality training. These are kids that walk into our office, heads down, never having had anybody tell them they could be successful in anything. None of them have had an education path that brought them any level of success. And we put them through 6 months training. It's hospitality training, it's life skills. It's about joining a family. It's about becoming part of a bigger whole. And these kids get their Cert 1, Cert 2 in 6 months and stand up at their graduation and say to us that you have given us and opened a door that we did not even know existed. So that is powerful when you can break the cycle of intergenerational poverty by providing skills. Out of our kids, a huge percentage have gone back to school, a huge percentage have gone on to TAFE, and the rest we have found jobs for. So it's very powerful. Feast is another of our education programs. It's our first foray into the school world. It's a curriculum accredited program in New South Wales. We're looking for accreditation everywhere else. It is for years 5 and 6 and teaches nutrition, sustainability, and teaches teachers. It's a train-the-trainer model. This is to fit into the STEM syllabus, and it is very, very powerful. It's rolling out as we speak into New South Wales. We've got huge interest from Queensland, and we yesterday presented on the Gold Coast, I think, to 250 schools. So our feast we're very proud of, because unless we start reaching kids, how will we shift and change behavior? Our most important, and I almost want to lock you all in this room and go into way more detail about this, which I won't now, but Annika is here and we would love to talk with you more about this, is our Fight Food Waste campaign and movement. On the back of this full feature film that was created and produced, not by us, by coincidence, for us, we launched the Fight Food Waste movement. The whole purpose of that, and all I've learned yesterday, all I've learned from everything that is being said is until we collaborate, until each and every single one of us becomes part of this movement and shares this movement with everybody else, nothing will change. Our Fight Food Waste program movement is about shifting and changing behaviour and understanding what it's going to take to get every citizen in Australia understanding the value of food, understanding the importance of not wasting food, and understanding how they can shift and change their own behaviour. We have a new slogan, like there was slip, slop, slap, like there were slogans for any other major campaigns. It is look, buy, store, cook. Look what's in your fridge, look what's in your pantry, buy what you need, store it properly, use the freezer as a pause button, and cook what you've bought, eat it, use it. We'll share much more about that, but it is an exciting movement. Because of all of our education programs, we are the United Nations Environmental Program's partner in Australasia. We've activated events for them around the world. And I guess events is probably because of my event background and my hospitality background. Events are a crucial part of what OzHarvest does. Everything we do is experiential. Our engage and innovate pillars are really the core of how we grow and how we keep ourselves moving. Engage is us with community. We are a place of purpose and meaning. 91% of my staff are volunteers. We have over 2,000 volunteers who give us their time, their love, their energy, and that is what allows us to grow and do and make the impact that we are completely committed to make. And innovation is really, I guess, second nature. I mean, OzHarvest started as a disruptor. Everything we do is innovative. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of really the world's first free supermarket. It exists in Kensington. It is a take what you need and give if you can model. If you haven't looked at our little video clip around our OzHarvest market, within about 2 months it had gone viral and had more than 10 million views. I've got about 55 countries around the world that are asking for us to bring the free supermarket to their country. It's a precious and beautiful place. Another innovation for us is a new company that we've just started. And again, if we keep looking at the innovation and the circular economy and how we can do things better, OzHarvest is fully philanthropically funded, other than some of our programs. In our Engage pillar, we have an exquisite program called Cooking for a Cause. We get about 250 corporates send their staff. We run one of the biggest cooking schools in Australia. But what's special about our cooking classes is you come in, you learn about food waste, you learn about cooking, you learn knife skills. We cook gourmet food. But that food, our participants get to taste just a little, and the rest gets packaged up by them with little beautiful notes and delivered out to feed the people that we support. Our new business is called the For Purpose Co. So can you imagine that you start a new business in our space and the name, the For Purpose Co, is available? That is the name of our business, the For Purpose Co. It is the first for business, for-profit social business, first of all, that we have started. And under that banner and under that company, our first little business you may or may not have seen is called Juice for Good. It is, again, the perfect circular economy business. Fresh orange juice vending machines, so we're buying oranges direct from farmers that have got a blemish that would not have a market otherwise. And these fresh, freestanding vending machines, currently there are 34 popping up in New South Wales. There will be going into Queensland, Victoria. It is a new business to find a way to fund OzHarvest. I want to share with you I want to leave you with a story, because I think when I said in this room, each and every one of you have the capacity to help us get the citizen movement on board. Nobody has dedicated a movement to fighting food waste. I want and would love to share more of that with you once this talk is over. But I'm going to leave you with a little story, and it's a very beautiful one. And I'm going to read it to you because I came across this quote by an Israeli author who recently passed away. He was a beacon of hope in Israel. He was a symbol of the left. His name is Amos Oz. He had written 40 books. They've been translated into 70 countries, an extraordinary man. And I came across this, and I feel it is so relevant. I normally tell stories without reading, but because it's a quote, I want to get it right, so I am going to read it. I believe that if one person is watching a huge calamity, let's say a conflagration, a fire, there are always 3 principal options that we have. The first, run away and as fast as you can, and let those who cannot run burn. Number 2, write a very angry letter to the editor of your paper demanding that the responsible people be removed from office with disgrace. Or for that matter, launch a demonstration. Or number 3, bring a bucket of water and throw it on the fire. And if you don't have a bucket, bring a glass. And if you don't have a glass, use a teaspoon. Every one of us has a teaspoon. And yes, I know a teaspoon is little, and the fire is huge, but there are millions of us, and each one of us has a teaspoon. Now, I would like to establish the order of the teaspoon. People who share my attitude, not the runaway attitude or the letter attitude, but the teaspoon attitude. I would like to walk around with a little teaspoon in the lapel or in their earring, and I would like to know that we are all in the same movement, in the same brotherhood, in the same order, the order of the teaspoon. So with that, I have 2 special teaspoons, and I would like to know if there's anybody in this audience who would like to join my order of the teaspoon and come and collect one of either of these teaspoons. Great. The first 2 to come up here will get a teaspoon and a hug, because that's what I do. Amazing. Thank you. Amazing. Phenomenal. Now, I want to share with you that I found this quote about 4 months ago. I've now shared this story globally. I've been all over the world. And the phenomenal, and with students, and the phenomenal thing is, what is going to become of the people who have teaspoons? Now, some of you didn't physically get a teaspoon, but each and every one has the teaspoon inside of us, and it is up to us to use that teaspoon every day. Thank you.